Howdy. Welcome to another day of Fraction Edition with Cuisenaire Rods. Remember, that's like fraction strips. Alright, so we'll start off with a warm-up. Which one of these doesn't belong? Which one doesn't belong? Alright, so another thing that I want you to do is make the one that doesn't belong. How would you make the one that doesn't belong? So, if we're looking at all of these, there's a similarity between three of them. A has 2 as a numerator, C has 2 as a numerator, and B has 2 as a numerator. D has 4 as a numerator, so that is not the same thing. That's 4 pieces instead of 2 pieces. Now let's think. Could we make that an equivalent fraction with 2 as a numerator? I want you to think. What could we do to make 2 the numerator? We could divide by 2. So we could simplify this. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 20 divided by 2 is 10. So 4/20 is the same thing as 2/10. Obviously, anyone that has an even denominator as well can be simplified even further, but that's a lesson for another day. If you're like thinking in your head, oh, I can do that right now. Of course, 2/4 is 1/2. 2/8 is 1/4. And 2/10 would be 1/5. Alright, so let's keep moving on. So the lesson here is a Cuisenaire rod. They have not labeled it for us yet, so I don't know what it is. Okay, now here's a hole, and then here is 2 halves, perhaps. They still haven't labeled it. Okay, here's a hole, and then a piece. I don't know, that might be a 4th. It's hard to tell right now, because once again, they're not labeled. Alright, so here's what it's saying now. What they are saying is 3/5 of an orange rod and 4/5 of an orange rod equals blank orange rods. So let's go back and let's take a look. Oops. Okay, so here's our orange rod. That's one hole. Yellow's our half. And then I think what they're trying to say is this red right here is 1/5. Alright. Now it's really kind of hard for us to tell that that's 1/5 because it's not labeled, and I don't have a way to really show that there could be 4 more of those red rectangles to equal the same amount. So usually you won't see something that's labeled that poorly. So on this, we're just going to go ahead and say 3/5 plus 4/5. Alright. Remember, if it's easier for you to remember, if it's easier for you to remember, just write the equal sign on the top part because, of course, with our numbers, our numerators, those are the only parts that we're adding. The denominator stays the same. So I don't even have to add anything on the denominator. We're really only adding the numerators. So if you want to put the equal sign on the top, 3 plus 4 is 7. Alright, so 7/5 is an improper fraction. It's one of our imposter fractions, so we need to figure out how do we simplify this imposter fraction. Alright, so let's go ahead and use the picture on the next part to help us simplify this really quick. Okay, so, alright, let's clear out my math really quick. Okay, so we said that 3/5 plus 4/5 was 7/5. So now what we're looking at is 1/5 to, or these are all 1/5, 1/5, 1/5, 1/5, 1/5, and 1/5. So if we added all those together, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 fifths. All right. Now here we can see that is one whole. All right. Right here we have 5/5. So 5/5 is equal to 1 whole, and then we have 2/5 left over. So 7/5 is the same thing as 1 and 2/5. That's the 1 whole and the 2/5. All right, when we come back, let's go ahead and use long division to find that same mixed number.